Guys, there are spoilers for this film and this review. So if you don't want to end up a victim of folklore, go watch film and come back. You have been warned.
Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ron HD. So yeah, this is going to be a great time.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ron HD, and this week we watched Hokum, the new Damian McCarthy film starring Adam Scott. It is a, haunting, supernatural horror film, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. There was a lot of spooktastic things about it. I really liked the witch and, the magic aspect. I also really liked the murder that the movie centered around, the whole murder thing. But for one whole tangent, why I enjoyed this film, I'll tell you why, and more. Back to the house.
I can't find a way out. I keep hearing something. I think there's someone down here.
Can you hear me? Get me out of here, man!
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ronan HD, and this week we watched Hokum, the new Damian McCarthy film writer-director. It is starring Adam Scott, and it is a gothic, supernatural, haunting horror film. Got all the descriptors in there. And I will say, I thought it was highly enjoyable. Now, I will say, there are some people out there, saying, oh, this is so scary, it's so traumatic, right? And nothing against you, because we all love spooks, right? Who doesn't love a good spooky movie? And I thought this movie was spooks galore, right? But personally, I didn't think it was that scary. However, it was spookalicious to the max, right? I thought that I really liked the introduction to the witch, which, actually, I'm sorry, I'm just jumping right ahead. How about I give a little context before I start jumping into that stuff? I'm just going to give I'm not going to summarize the whole plot here. Essentially, Adam Scott plays this author who visits Ireland to spread his parents' ashes after seeing the ghost of his mother at his house while he was writing the ending to his highly acclaimed Conquistador trilogy. And obviously, well, not obviously, I guess obviously because it's a horror movie, spooky stuff's gonna happen. Some bad stuff happens, and then he ends up being in kind of an escape room where there's an evil witch in the basement trying to kill him, right? And he has to use the knowledge that he gained, that the employees taught him, to kind of fend off the witch and survive and escape, right? And bring justice to a friend that he had made at the hotel who was murdered by an evildoer, right? And he wanted to basically avenge her. Because earlier in the movie he tried to kill himself, and she saved him with a file. She cut the rope, and she saved his life, and so he wanted to repay her. And that's essentially where the story kicks off. I could go on, but that's essentially the whole premise of the movie. And I thought it was really damn enjoyable. I think that I really liked how dark and atmospheric the whole middle part of the movie was. I really liked how there was it was a mystery in the first quarter of it, maybe a little more than a quarter, and then you figure out what happened, and then it kind of becomes an avenge story, not really a revenge story, but an avenge story where Adam Scott was trying to avenge the girl who saved his life by bringing the man who murdered her to justice, right, essentially, and escaping and not dying, right? He also wanted to do that, too. But I also liked how, one thing I did like, though, is that the witch, although she is evil and she, like, drags people to hell, right? That's not really a thing a good entity or, like, whatever would do. But she's not really, like, the villain of the movie, per se. She's more just, like, a force of nature that just persists. As I said, the real villain of the movie is the murderer who murdered his friend, who he made at the hotel, because he was, like, you know, having an affair with her, and he was already married in this, like, rich family, and she was pregnant with his child, and he thought, like, his reputation would be ruined, his family would hate him, right? So to cover up the evidence, he murdered her brutally by basically, like, feeding her to the witch, right? He, like, put her in the basement, and the witch got her, you know? And I think that, but there's also a bit of interpretation in this movie, because at the end of the movie, they say that, the guy, Mal, they didn't find his body, because obviously in the movie he's dragged to hell, so of course they wouldn't find his body. But, if the witch killed her, why was her body still there? You know, wouldn't she have also been dragged to hell if the witch killed her, right? So maybe they kind of bring it up at the end of the movie, they kind of leave it up, was it all in his head? Because the, one of the employees that he was a dick to, at the beginning of the movie, like, slipped, like, psychedelics into his whiskey. So maybe the movie implies maybe it was all in his head, maybe it was fake. But then like, if you pay attention, the witch was real. Right, so I guess it's just kind of like maybe she didn't kill the girl, maybe? I don't know. Because I feel like if she dragged her to hell, her body wouldn't be there. And that's kind of like her whole thing. Like, that's the witch's whole thing. Maybe I'm not supposed to think about that. Like, I don't know. Or maybe that's intentional. Maybe it's to, like, throw the audience off or something. I don't know. Because I said there is a whole mystery with the film, and that builds and builds. I did generally just really like I don't know, I really liked Adam Scott's character, like, his strange chemistry with this witch. Like, she was just, like, having the time of her life the whole movie. And obviously, she's a 400-year-old witch, right? She's done this a whole lot, right? She's probably dragged a lot of people to hell before, you can assume. This ain't her first rodeo. So she's just, like, kind of laughing at him as he falls over himself. She's just, like, having a grand old time. And one thing I love at the end of the movie is she had caught him, right? And she had him in a chain to drag him to hell, but she wasn't dragging him. She was going to drag Mal first, because I have kind of the theory that she's kind of like a judge, too, maybe, because, like, they both killed women, right? But they were under different circumstances. Because if the big reveal, well, not the big reveal, this is like a big moment that you don't see coming early in the film, that it reveals that Ohm accidentally killed his mother as a child because he was playing with his father's gun, right? And he's felt guilty ever since. You know, like, the movie's kind of about his guilt and trying to overcome that guilt of him murdering his mother when he was a child, accidental or not. So maybe, but it was accidental. Like, he didn't mean to murder his mother, right? But Mal, obviously 100% meant to murder that woman, that innocent woman, Fiona. So clear, maybe she was dragging him to hell first because he was the bigger sinner, right? That he was, like, I guess, more evil. And, but the reason I'm mentioning it, and the, like, chemistry between the witch and Ohm, is, like, as she walks past him, she just kind of goes, like looks at him a little bit as she's like walking to the door to drag the other dude to hell. She's like, wait here a second. She's like, I gotta do this real quick. I don't know, I just found that little interaction nice. I liked the witch. She was cool. I love witches. We need more witches. Where are my witches at? Anyway, I also did really like the escape room, like, puzzle element to this, where Adam Scott's character, Ohm, was really, like, having to really get in the think tank up here, and really think of ways to escape, and ways to, you know, get the fuck out, and not get killed by a witch. Right, like, that's what I enjoyed. I also liked his development throughout the movie, as he, kind of at the end of the movie, he got a new perspective on life. You know, he overcame his grief after the ghost of his mother consoled him, and she told him that she didn't hold anything against him, you know, and that she knew it was an accident, and that she didn't hate him, right? And he got that closure. And also, one thing I did like, that maybe I'm overthinking it, but the corpse of Fiona, her eyelids were open, right? But when he came back up, he had her in like a chair to like move her body out of the basement like elevator so that he could go down. But when she was in the chair, when he came back up, her eyes were closed. So does that mean like since her murderer was dragged to hell, I assume like her soul's at rest, right? Because isn't that like the whole thing with ghosts? Like they have unfinished business, and when their business is finished, up they go, right? Or down they go, I guess, if it depends. But I guess obviously her soul's at rest, I guess. So he not only freed himself, he also freed her. But one thing I also like the symbolism is that the file that she used to cut the noose, he used to cut the chains that was going to drag him to hell, right? So like she saved him, and he saved himself with that same file, but he also saved her in the process, kind of in a way, in that same scene with him, the other guy being dragged to hell. Either way, I just liked that whole ending scene with that. I also liked how, at the end of the movie, so he had been writing, at the beginning of the movie, the epilogue for the ending of his book, of the ending of his trilogy, was really bleak, right? It was really sad, and really depressing, and really, like, kind of, you know, not underwhelming, but just a downer ending, right? And it's because he was depressed, right? I mean, he literally tried to kill himself. He was not in a good headspace at all. But at the end of the movie, as I said, he got a new outlook on life, and he gave it a happier, more uplifting ending. Because when he talked to the bartender, Fiona, that got murdered, this is before she got murdered, obviously, she said that she didn't like that ending, that, you know, it wasn't for her, that it was too sad, you know, and that she wouldn't read it. So he's like, obviously, she left a big impact on him. And he's like, you know what? we're going to have hope in this motherfucker. We're going to have a happier ending. I mean, they were like, I don't know. It was just a nicer ending for the book and a nicer ending for the movie. And I liked that. I guess maybe one more little tidbit. I've just kind of been rambling on. But one other thing I really liked is the weird, like, bunny dude. I liked him, like, with the weird, like, makeup and the pop eyes. He looked really funny. I actually expected him to be in more of the movie because he was in a lot of the marketing. You know, he was like in the trailer. Probably just because like he looked freaky, so they wanted to like put something that looked freaky in the trailer. But I liked him. I wished he was in more of it. I also liked his weird like way that he spoke, like the weird like goofy way that he spoke. And one last little tidbit that I wanted to say before wrapping things up is that I read about this. I didn't notice it while watching the movie, but I read about it. And apparently, if you look in the reflection in Ohm's glasses, you can see, like, what's real and what's a hallucination, right? So, like, when he's looking at the TV to, like, look at the rabbit or, like, whatever, and he's looking at it, it's just like a TV screen, right? And when he's looking at the witch is there, so the witch wasn't a hallucination. I'm just the messenger here. I didn't notice this on my first watch because I wasn't really paying attention to that, right? So maybe correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I just read about that somewhere. Feel free to correct me. Either way, I'm just been rambling here. Let me get to recommendations and ratings. I think I would highly recommend this movie. I think it's a really fun horror movie. I think it's just really enjoyable, you know? As I said earlier, it's spooktastic. There's spooks everywhere. There's spooks all over this film, and it's a treat. I love a good spooky movie, and this movie has that in strides, and I think you should watch it if you're a fan of horror, right? It's just a good time. Either way, what would I rate this film, you may ask? And I don't even care if you didn't ask it, because I'm going to answer it anyway. I think that this film is a 7.5 out of 10. And, yeah, I think that's how I say. I think it's some peace. So, guys, I hope you liked this video. Share it with friends, subscribe, turn those notifications on. Comment down below what you liked it. But you guys know how it goes. I didn't really mean to say that. What I really meant to say was I hope you guys hated this video. Unsubscribe, dislike, tell me in the comments. And I've been Orange HD. Off to open my mind. You know, I was watching this movie, right? And the whole time I was like, this kind of feels like an advanced escape room. You know what I mean? Like, he's looking around the room for clues, and then he has to, like, there's, like, some of them that you can only do a certain amount of times before it's, like, locked out and you fail it permanently. You know, there's, like, time stuff. It feels like a puzzle. Like, he's solving a puzzle. Like, it's like a puzzle game or something. I don't know. It just had, like a linear progression that I liked. That really felt like he was going through something. But it also felt very game-like, if that makes sense. Maybe I played too many puzzle games. I don't know.